It's not the sitting itself that's aging you. It's what happens in the first 30 seconds after you stand up. Think about the last time you got out of your chair after watching TV, working at your desk, or reading a book for an hour or more. Your knees might have felt stiff. Your hips resisted straightening. Maybe you even felt a rush of lightheadedness that made you pause before taking a step. Those first 30 seconds are where the real danger lives, because your muscles, joints, and blood vessels have been powered down while you sat. They're not ready to carry your full weight and balance instantly. Picture your muscles like elastic bands. When they're used and stretched regularly, they're springy, ready to snap back into action. But leave them in one position too long, and they stiffen, losing that quick rebound you need to move safely. The result? A stumble, a misstep, or a slow reaction that can turn an ordinary stand-up into a serious fall. The good news is, you can switch on your body before you take that first step, and it only takes a few seconds. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to do so you can stand up strong, steady, and ready every time. Let me tell you about Richard Coleman, a 69-year-old retired park ranger from Colorado. One evening, he was watching a baseball game in his living room. The innings moved slowly, so he sat for over 2 hours without getting up once. When the game ended, he stood to grab a drink from the kitchen, and that's when it happened. The moment he straightened his back, his knees felt like rusty hinges. His hips wouldn't fully open. And a wave of dizziness washed over him so suddenly that he had to grab the arm of the couch to keep from toppling over. He laughed it off at first, telling his wife, "Guess I've been sitting too long." But the next morning, it happened again, this time after just 45 minutes of sitting at the breakfast table. That's when the reality hit him. If he didn't change something, one of these episodes could lead to a fall. And a fall could change everything: his independence, his mobility, even where he lived. Richard didn't need hours in the gym. What he needed was a short, targeted routine he could do before standing up, a way to wake up his body so it was ready for that first step. Here's what's really going on when you sit for long stretches, especially after 60. When you're seated, blood flow to your legs slows down. Your heart isn't pumping as forcefully to the lower body, and your leg muscles, which normally help push blood back toward the heart, are basically on standby. At the same time, the muscles in the front of your hips, called the hip flexors, tighten up like a shortened rope. The muscles in your glutes, the ones that help you stand and stabilize, start to fall asleep from lack of activation. And there's another hidden change: the nerves that control balance and movement become less responsive. That means when you finally do stand, your reaction time is delayed. Think of it like leaving a garden hose kinked for hours. When you finally turn on the water, there's a hesitation before it flows freely again. Your circulation works the same way: sit too long and it takes a moment for blood to fully reach your legs and brain again. That moment, those first few seconds after standing, is exactly when dizziness, unsteady steps, and even falls can happen. The fix isn't complicated. Before you stand, you just need to prime the pump and wake up the muscles and circulation. And that's what I'm going to teach you next. The first thing I taught Richard was the easiest, and it takes less than 15 seconds. While still seated, place both feet flat on the floor. Lift your toes while keeping your heels down, then press your toes down and lift your heels. It's like you're slowly rocking your feet back and forth. Do this motion 10 to 15 times. Here's why it works. Your calf muscles act like a second heart for your lower body. Every time they contract, they push blood upward toward your heart and brain. After sitting too long, this movement reactivates circulation, reducing that lightheaded feeling some men get when they stand up. Richard started doing ankle pumps during commercial breaks and anytime he'd been sitting for more than 30 minutes. Within a week, he noticed something surprising. He wasn't bracing himself with his hands every time he got up. His legs felt ready, and his head stayed clear. Think of ankle pumps as the ignition key for your body after sitting. It's the first step towards standing up steady and confident. The second move targets the muscles that stabilize your hips and core, the ones that keep you upright once you're on your feet. Here's how to do it. While seated, place your feet flat on the floor and keep your knees bent at about 90 degrees. Press your knees gently together as if you're holding a small ball between them. Hold that squeeze for 5 seconds, then relax. Repeat 5 to 8 times. What's happening here is more than just a leg squeeze. You're activating the inner thigh muscles, the pelvic stabilizers, and even your lower abdominal muscles. These muscles create the centerline stability your body depends on when you take that first step. For Richard, this was the game changer. He told me that before starting this move, his first few steps after sitting felt wobbly, like his legs weren't fully connected to his hips. After just 2 weeks, that wobbly feeling disappeared. The seated hip squeeze is like locking the foundation of a house before you build upward. Once your core is stable, everything else moves with more control. The final move isn't just about your shoulders, it's about resetting your posture and getting more oxygen to your brain before you take that first step. Here's how to do it. While seated, let your arms relax at your sides. Roll your shoulders forward in a big, slow circle 3 times, then roll them backward 3 times. As you roll backward, take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your chest and lifting it slightly. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Why this works? When you've been sitting for a long time, your chest muscles shorten, your shoulders roll forward, and your upper back rounds. This posture restricts your breathing and can make you feel sluggish or even lightheaded when you stand. By rolling your shoulders and breathing deeply, you open the chest, improve lung expansion, and send a fresh rush of oxygen to your brain. You're also re-engaging the muscles along your spine that help keep you upright. Richard told me this one felt the best. He described it as shaking off the sitting before moving. And when he combined it with the ankle pumps and hip squeeze, standing up felt smooth, powerful, and completely under control. This is the last piece of the puzzle, a quick posture reset that prepares not just your legs, but your entire body for that first step forward. Here's what you can expect when you make these 3 micro movements a habit every time you've been sitting for more than 30 minutes. By day 7, you'll notice less stiffness in your legs and hips when you stand. That awkward, getting started, moment after sitting will feel smoother. You may also feel more alert because your brain is getting better blood flow right away. By day 14, standing up will feel almost effortless. No more bracing yourself on the chair or desk for balance. Your first few steps will be steady, without that unsteady or wobbly feeling. Richard said that by week 2, he could stand up from his recliner and walk straight to the kitchen without a pause. By day 30, it becomes second nature. You'll find yourself doing the ankle pumps, hip squeeze, and shoulder rolls automatically before you get up, like buckling a seatbelt before driving. And the difference is clear. Your legs feel ready, your head stays clear, and your body moves as one connected system from the very first step. These aren't just exercises, they're a pre-launch sequence for your body. They make sure everything is switched on before you stand, so you can move with confidence and protect yourself from the kind of falls that change lives. If you take away one thing from this, let it be this: you're not losing mobility because of age. You're losing it because you're forgetting to wake it up before you use it. Every time you've been sitting for more than 30 minutes, give your body 30 seconds before you stand. Do your ankle pumps to get the blood moving. Do your seated hip squeeze to lock in your stability. Do your shoulder rolls with deep breathing to reset your posture and wake up your brain. That's the 30-second rule. It's simple, it's quick, and it can be the difference between a safe step and a dangerous fall. Richard told me that following this rule didn't just make him steadier, it gave him peace of mind. He no longer worries about getting lightheaded, and he feels in control of his body in those critical moments after sitting. And here's the best part, once you make this a habit, you'll find yourself standing taller, moving smoother, and feeling more confident in every step you take. So the next time you're about to get up from your chair, remember this. Before you move forward, wake up your body first. Because every safe step you take is another day you stay independent and strong.